because I was heavily involved in that election, everyone's signs were on private property with permission. I made the mistake of putting a sign on someone's property that gave me permission, but they didn't own the property. So it got removed, which is, that's the way it works. But, and I know there were a few that pushed the envelope that were near right away, and you being smart, not wanting to get involved, just kind of let it ride.
I don't pick them up.
Right. And I get
In
that.
an election, I just kind of leave them alone.
But does
Never had
council,
picked them up.
I guess the bottom line is, does council have a desire? Does council wish to vote? Hold on, Mr. Page, I'll get to you in just a second.
But I will tell you, in 1992, I tried to pick up Dick Cranwell's signs in the right-of-way in Vinton, Virginia. The mayor called me very quickly and told me, cease and desist. If you remember Dick Cranwell's that
Oh, yeah.
the house in
Mr. Page, I've talked to you. You found a Supreme Court ruling that says
Yeah, may I?
you may.
So everything first of all, just to clear up, there was one location where there was a confusion, and that's the Lunenburg extension, which is owned by the people. And I think the sign may have been right on the edge of the property, but there's no houses. Like, they were past the sign probably 30, 40 feet, and then there's like a house behind a
It was
house.
on public property.
Right, so I think there'd been no problem moving the sign over to more towards the center of the Lunenburg extension, where there's a very wide right-of-way. It's actually 7 feet long, goes back 738 feet. So we're only talking about one instance here where it's been an issue. I would argue that if it was your front yard, even though it is the right-of-way, you also have use to the right-of-way. And I don't support anybody putting a sign in anybody's front yard.
Right, right.
But I do think that there's times where public property may come up upon another property, and the sign may be close to the line. And, I think in that time, we just reach out to somebody and ask them to move it, and they'll move it.
All right, how about Sea Park and Shores Tavern?
I think the expectation from the town would be after that action that council took, it doesn't endorse a candidate or it doesn't endorse a product, it was okay. If somebody puts a Chris Page sign in front of town hall, I don't think that is protected, and I think that action by council would eliminate that as a
Okay, so
responsibility.
what you're recommending, Mr. Van Norbeck, is on town-owned property, which is active, like
I think
town
that's
hall?
already in place. I think council has already acted on that
Okay.
during the Armory referendum.
I don't recall it being a formal vote, though. It may have been common sense. I think early voting starts Friday, just my opinion. I'd rather council be overly clear tonight than bland, and then October, we've got 6 people here going, neighbors versus neighbors.
May I make just a few more points? And I apologize, because I don't want the town to put itself in a spot that's itchy. So in 2015, Reed versus the town of Gilbert, and went to the U.S. Supreme Court. What you guys are talking about here are content-based restrictions. When people can put signs up for the Armory, but they can't put on political ads, they've ruled that to be unconstitutional. If you accept some signs, you accept all signs. As a matter of fact, looking into this particular ruling, even the banners that the town allow us to hang up, the way the ordinance is written, it allows some signs and some organizations to put up signs, but not other speech. And that would be a violation. So even that ordinance probably needs to be looked at.
Let me ask you your opinion, because I know you read the code.
I'm not an attorney.
What if council said no signs on town right-of-way or town property, period?
Well, I think that would have to go through zoning, because you'd have to deem them hazardous. But I will tell you, in this opinion, the concurring side said it's ridiculous to say a sign would be hazardous, because any sign could be hazardous to road conditions. So I know the state highway being in the median, the danger of the speed limits, yeah, but we have 25 mile an hour, 35 mile an hour speed
It's
limits
not a
through town.
colossal issue by any means. It's not that, but I just know how, as November 8th gets closer, I know people get a little sensitive, and people,
I get it, but the people own that property. They own the right of way. I mean, that's generally all over the state. They're in there, and as long as the candidate picks it up, I understand. We have signs in people's yards who allowed us to put them there too.
I just want to make sure, and I wish Tessie were here, and I know this is nitpicking, but I want to make sure that if a candidate, whoever he or she is allowed to put a sign along the town right-of-way, is it not vandalism or destruction of property if someone comes along and says, that's on town right-of-way, I'm going to pick a sign up? If someone has a right to place a sign, then doesn't conversely someone have the right to remove the sign? I'm just asking. I'm just.
On that end, I would say I don't think that the sign is their property though. Yeah.
What is council's pleasure? We'll move on.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Page.
If I may, the one thing I would prefer not to do, if we can, is because we have multiple width right-of-ways around town. I don't wanna get into measuring right-of-way and all that kind of stuff,
I
so.
don't either.
If there's a way we could, come up with something that works, that we're not gonna have to be the arbiter of right-of-way width and that sort of thing.
Please forgive me, I'm a candidate, but I can't help but say, I think it's wrong to have a citizen to maintain the right of way for the town and not have a say-so what sign stuff they got.
I'm with you. It's one,
I think the best solution would be the easiest. The signs are not crucial to the welfare of the citizens of Blackstone. If it's a gray area and makes people uncomfortable, eliminate it.
right.
If, you know, if I support someone and wanna put it in my yard, that's great.
Right.
But I don't think the sign should be littering the town of Blackstone.
So what you're saying is that when in doubt, just say, look, there's not gonna be signs on town right away or town property.
That's right.
I concur. What is council's pleasure?
Excuse me one second.
Yes.
I would just say that would create a new ordinance or a new zoning ordinance or a new law, and that would have to go through a proper public hearing.
You may be correct, but I will say this, I don't believe I don't believe it's addressed at all right now. Well, it is addressed because in our ordinance, it says there is no advertising on town property. We grant exceptions for the bull blast. The fire station had a sign promoting bull blast. They got council permission to do that. That's in the ordinance, 1971. There is no advertising permitted on town property. Mr. Green and I drafted the banner policy back in 2007 because we wanted community events that were nonprofit, that were going to bring people to Blackstone, like Luther Foster Reunion or Blackstone High Reunion or Arts and Crafts Festival. We wanted to celebrate those events, and council approved those.
You're also talking about something that the town has never forced. They've always allowed it, and now it seems like they're doing it because they don't like one particular candidate running. So
No, I promise you that I've heard no one mention that. Signs tend to proliferate. That's all.
I got a question.
Yeah.
What's the difference between a sign and a banner?
The banners allowed for in the town ordinance. We amended the town ordinance to allow we have a banner policy that was adopted around 2008, I believe.
And you have the zoning ordinance is very clear about signs and those kinds of things, but that's on private property. And the streets are not zoned, as we learned with tractor trailers and prohibiting their location. So it's I guess a gray area that's just.
I'm just trying to give you guidance. I don't want Phil to be the bad guy. What's that? I'm
Can we
sorry.
get an opinion from Tessie on this?
We can. We're going to be talking to her in closed session by audio tonight, so that's fine. We will add. We have a closed session for personnel, consultation with legal counsel with our town attorney, and I will add to that opinion.
I think it's an open session thing, but.
It is, yeah. We'd have to come in open session.
I don't think so.
I'll engage her tomorrow and ask her to give us an opinion on that as soon as possible. That way, let's see. Good discussion. So we'll wait. We'll get council's permission. Council's blessing. We'll talk to our attorney. Is that okay? That's good.
Yes.
Yeah, that's good. Sound good.
I have two items to refer to council committees. The ditch at Shiloh Baptist, I'll refer to Street and Light. And then the town square, I'm assuming this is interest in purchasing a town square?
Yeah.
That would be buildings and properties and cemetery?
And I'll tell you, we received a business plan,
Okay.
a rudimentary business plan, but a business plan nonetheless, showing interest in using the.
And Mr. Allman made a good point some time ago, and I thought about what he said, and I knew that he made a great point. He said, he recalled, and I'm going off my memory too, that the state required that if they had requirements about that square. And I recall it being that if the square were ever sold and a building were erected, it had to be a brick masonry building in keeping with the architecture of the existing buildings. As far as the town selling the square for a use that did not involve construction, I think council's free to do so or consider it, but I would want to make sure we go through, make sure it's, council's even interested in selling it, if it's about, and then make sure we go through
I think
DHCD.
that individual would be interested in a potential lease.
Yeah, or at least to see how it goes. And that'd be a win-win if it could be done. But, very good. So we'll refer those committees. Under mayor's minute, I said basically all that's been on my mind the last few days was, tragic loss of a fine young woman in our community. That's all I have on the mayor's minute. We have the police chief here. Chief, things going well?
Yeah, Mayor, if you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer those.
I'll throw this at you.
Oh, here we go.
Here we go. But this is coming from other people, and occasionally me. since July 1st, I know y'all gave warnings on the loud trucks and the exhaust. Are we starting to maybe be a little more stern on that? I mean, in my neighborhood, I don't mind telling you, man, there's some times if I could catch them, if I thought I could run fast enough to catch them, I would catch them and I'd cuss them.
I mean, we
Because they
should-
see me and they're doing it and I mean, it makes your chest vibrate. And they're not people and they're not residents of my neighborhood. One of them's a big white truck. I just can't get the license plate. But I mean, people in the neighborhoods it's kind of getting to be like we heard on the dogs earlier. I know you guys doing all you can on the dogs, but it's another one of those things that just, what good is the law if it's not going to be enforced?
Well, our plan is to enforce it. I don't want to quote numbers without being prepared, but I would say the officers are increasing their enforcement of that. That's our goal.
Okay.
Well, once the laws change back to we can enforce it, that's certainly.
And y'all gave a grace period, which I
Yeah.
respect. I respect that. This is the second opportunity for citizen comments. Anyone tonight with a question or concern yes, Justin Seraphin. I'm gonna see you October 8th.
Yes, I just wanted to remind council of our upcoming DBI event, the Blackstone Burst of Fun Color Run. Get it right. Coming Saturday, October 8th. I had one quick question. The planning committee wishes to serve beer at the after party, and is that something like Town Square? Do we need to ask for permission from council for doing that?
Just on town pride, would it be the Armory or the Source Tavern grounds?
Yeah, basically High Street's closed,
Right.
and it's between Dinwiddie and Tavern, and we'll be in that area.
I would caution simply that, if required by insurance, then a tulip policy may have to be purchased. I just
Yeah.
don't know the exact.
Which DBI's had in the past when you used to have concerts. DBI used to have concerts in the square. So
We'll confirm with insurance company.
Okay.
we can count this as a request, and I'd ask council to approve a contingent upon the tulip policy,
If required.
if required. But does someone like to make that a motion?
So moved.
Mr. Miller has moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Williams, a second. It's October 8th, a Saturday. The event starts at 12. The
12
run
o'clock.
walk starts at 2.
2 o'clock.
And the after party goes to 5 o'clock.
5 o'clock, that's right.
And in case you didn't know, I've never done one, but when you walk through certain places or run through certain places, you get sprayed with chalk, which is washable, I guess. Make sure it's washable, please, Ms. Green.
This I was gonna ask you what was it? Okay.
That's right.
You can walk it
I think
too.
I'm gonna do the run walk. I'm gonna do the walk.
Yeah, yeah, it's not a competition. It's not a time. Yeah. You've been walking.
I think I'm gonna walk it, yeah.
Anyone else tonight? Thank you, Justin. Anything
Thank
else?
you. Thanks.
The motion did pass, yes. It passed 5-0. Chris Page,
Yeah, just one more thing. I looked up your law with no advertising.
yes.
Okay.
74.1, I believe.
It's actually 6.1.
Okay.
Okay, so it says no person shall post any handbill, place card, advertisement, or notice on any property owned by the town. And then section B says banners are permitted up to 5 times a year with no sponsorship and not to exceed 32 square feet. So one of the decisions that Reed versus the town of Gilbert also addresses is not only content-based restrictions, but the difference between non-commercial signs and commercial signs. This allows banners up to 5 times a year for
One group can have up to
with
5.
no
yeah.
sponsorships.
Right.
If those signs are allowed, you have to let all. And I would just bring that up with your attorney as well.
Absolutely.
Seems like all the ordinances that are there do not cover right of way. They allow some signs and not other, and they all seem to go against that Supreme Court ruling 2015.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Page. Thank you. Anyone else tonight? We have one, I don't think it's on the agenda, but we need to is it on the agenda, closed session?
I didn't know we had one.
Tessie wanted to confer with us briefly, very briefly. It's his consultation with legal counsel. She will be present via speakerphone. And it's a personnel matter and administration, just a little housekeeping, cleaning up of that issue.
You wanna read the?
Yes, to be proper, absolutely. I need a motion, members of council, to go into this closed session under Virginia Code Section 2.2-3711 personnel, discussion, consideration, or interviews of prospective candidates for employment, assignment, appointment, promotion, performance, demotion, salaries, disciplining, or resignation of specific public officers, appointees, or employees of any body. And I will also just add legal matters, since since Tessie Bacon, our town attorney, will be joining us by speakerphone. It will not be long at all. And actually, something Ms. Williams has helped us, got some good help from Councilwoman Williams to clarify, to make this short. I'd entertain a motion to go into closed session for those reasons.
So moved.
Mr. Miller has moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Our second by Ms. Jones. All in favor say aye. Aye. We stand in closed session at
When is it gonna start it? On
9:20.